Support for Rap in Order is brought to you by Manscaped,
who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code RAPINORDER20 at manscaped.com.
Check it out.
Welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Reg.
I'm Torian B.
Today, guys, we're going to get into the Love Below. Now, I know this is a double album. It's a double album. It's actually called Speaker Box, The Love Below. And it's the 5th studio album from Outkast, which consists of Big Boy and Andre 3000. But the Speaker Box focuses on Big Boy. Big Boy takes the helm for that. It was kind of their way of releasing their solo albums, but it was a double album. But I wanted to focus on the Love Below specifically, which is Andre 3000's half of the double album, for plenty of reasons. But this album came out in 2003. It received very, very wide critical acclaim. It sold over 10 million records.
11 million now.
Yes, it's at 11 million now. And there's just so much lore around this album. With
one album of the year at the Grammys.
And one album of the year. And it's such a big part of pop culture in that time frame, mainly because of the main single from The Love Below, which was Hey Ya. You have Polaroid trying to jump in the news and say, hey, you're actually not supposed to shake your Polaroids. That's going to fuck up your photos. Just weird shit like that was happening around these songs. But it was I just remember it being a very distinct time. But The Love Below stands out to me for plenty of reasons. Number one, to this day, a lot of people like to say that we don't have a solo Andre 3000 album. And I like to count this as that. I like to count this as the closest we'll get to that. If you read Andre 3000 interviews lately, I don't think he's even in the headspace to give us a solo album. I think this is as good as it gets, and I'm okay with that, actually. Like, on a re-listen to this, you're not okay with that?
Nope.
All right, we'll get into that. But on a re-listen to this, every time I listen to this album, I'm very satisfied with this album, and we can get into the amount of impact and influence that this album on its own has had and the artists that it's inspired. But why wouldn't you be okay with that?
I have a lot of places to go, but I'll answer your question first. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be okay with that because imagine being Superman. Imagine Superman's your next door neighbor and somebody keeps coming to your house fucking you up, and Superman don't come help.
And you're just watching.
He's just watching. He's just like, yo, I'm a pacifist.
It's fucked up.
Right? Andre 3000 is probably one of the most skilled artists. Not even just one of the most skilled rappers. Right? Because, I'm going to use this to set up what I'm about to go into. He's one of the most skilled artists, period, right? What he did with this album, with his side of it, well, actually him and Big, I give Big Boy the credit as well, because there's a reason why L.A. Reid says that Outkast is his favorite act that he's ever had. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Even though Babyface wasn't his act, Babyface was his partner. Mm-hmm. He's worked with Babyface. He's worked with Michael Jackson. He helped break Tony Braxton. He helped break TLC. Usher, right? Usher is his artist, right?
Yeah.
But my thing is just that Outkast are one of the huge reasons why rap music is the biggest genre today. Obviously, there are many people that were a part of this, right? Mm-hmm. But what Outkast did was they knew how to make radio hit records. Like now, like these are some rapping ass dudes, but they understood what the music industry really wanted as far as getting on top 40 radio and being crossover artists and still like being true to who they are. And what Andre 3000 did with Hey Ya, right? And this album period is kind of, if you really think about it, if you bottle up a bunch of the top 40 artists right now, so let's take, Drake for his melodies and the way he's able to kind of like cater to women, right? Let's take Bruno Mars, how he's able to take songs from later time in the past, right? Then you take rap music right now, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and there's a slew of other artists that I can like name. Even if you take right now like Doja Cat, like or Katy Perry, like artists that kind of like, and Katy Perry no, because she's not dominating right now. But I'm just saying like the most current artists, right? Pretty much all of these artists is what Andre 3000 is in one. He can do everything. Like there's not one avenue that he can't touch. And what he did on this album, he gave you a little bit of everything, and everything from this album can be on top 40 radio and do fine.
Yeah.
Right? And he still gets his respect in the rap genre because nobody wants to fuck with him. He's the boogeyman. So it's frustrating to know that there's a person that is this talented, because if Andre 3000, let's say if Andre 3000 did continue to make music, he'd probably be the biggest, he probably would have peaked and had like one of the biggest runs in music, right? If he would have continued as a solo artist, he probably will also have an album that's just as big as selling as this project is. And I'm gonna be selfish. Like I'm pissed off with him for not giving us that incredible body of work. It's like he just pokes his head out every once in a blue and like does something really cool. And that's great. I appreciate it, but it's just like, all it does is remind me, like, oh my God, this dude is amazing. Like he is so good, and we'll never be able to like get it. And like so much time has passed. You know what? I'm not even going to say that he's that good. I think if he put out an album right now, it will do everything that it's supposed to do.
Oh yeah,
right. So that's the trouble, but that's the troublesome thing, in the sense that the Love Below is such a significant project to what the music that we hear today, because The Love Below was the first time that some kids, might have gone into other genres or wanted to hear other things besides rap music. Yes, I understand that Tribe Called Quest and many other groups, use a lot of different instrumentation and use a lot of different genres of music in their presentation. But what Andre did, like Andre was actually playing instruments himself, just him, and doing things, and it is just very sad that we don't get it. And I understand he has performance anxiety. He kind of felt like being a rapper past the age of 30 was kind of like, something that he just didn't find ideal. And he has certain roadblocks of things that he thinks, but it's disappointing, man. And it's crazy because this album is so good, right? And you think about it like, all right, man, you don't gotta rap, man. Just do your melodic shit, bro. Yeah. Like, even if Andre 3000 made an album with just him playing the flute, I'd buy that shit.
This album came at an interesting time too. I wanted to note that because it came in 2003, and at the end of that year, and earlier that year.
Oh, go ahead. I think you about to take it there.
So earlier that year, 50 debuted.
Yes.
Yeah, in February, and 50 had a monstrous year, and it's one of those things that like he had one of those years and one of those movements that like if you weren't like the movement, you kind of had to move the fuck out the way.
Right.
And so it was kind of brave in this time for Outkast to come out, because they were nothing like that. I mean, for this album to come out, because it was nothing like
the contrast was crazy. And remember, at this time, the crunk era was at its peak. Houston was on the rise. And Houston was rising. Crunk music was had hit its fever pitch, right?
Yeah. Oh, Houston had their Swisher House movement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then trap music was being like the groundwork for trap music was coming, because T.I. was coming out, and then and Gucci Mane and Jeezy were right behind him, right? So, and then the West Coast had the Game.
Yeah.
And a lot of West Coast artists were coming out, right? And then a little bit later on, the backpacker movement came.
Yeah.
Right? But what they did with the project, I know we're talking about the Love Below, but like what they did was kind of like some Beatles shit.
Well, explain that.
So they're the biggest rap group in the world, and at their peak, they decided. Well, Andre 3000 decided that he didn't want to tour anymore. So, mind you, they're on tour with Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
Right. So Andre 3000, Big Boy and Andre said they want to have a meeting with L.A. Reid, and in the meeting, Andre announced that he doesn't want to tour anymore, and he doesn't want to do an album with Big Boy. That was all news to Big Boy, right? So that's in L.A. Reid's book, Sing to Me. So with that going on, Big Boy's like, all right, so Andre and Big Boy they figure it out, they squash it, and then Big Boy's like, yo, I want to work on my album, and they're doing an album, and in the midst of that happening, L.A. Reid is like, yo, Big Boy's album sounded really good. On some like competitive shit. And then Andre was like, how much time I got before the deadline to turn in the album? And L.A. is like, excuse me? And then he tells him that he has, 60 days. You have 2 months. And he goes in and does the album. And I think the other thing that was really super duper impressive is that they took the training wheels off and like they didn't use organized noise on this album.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I think, and I was reading on how Andre constructed this album, and like you said, he had the deadline, but he was very out of the loop of rap. Like he didn't want to do anything with rap. He doesn't even rap that much on this album. I think he has maybe really just that one song, A Life in a Day, Benjamin Andre, I think it is, where he really, really raps. I think that's like the only one.
And that's not even on the album, right?
No, it's on the album.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's at the end.
That one is on Idlewild.
No, it's on this album.
Yeah, it's on this album. And I think that's like the only time that he raps. But I say all that to say, when he went into this, he was very uninspired with rapping, and it's something that Andre goes through all the time, and he's been super transparent about his writer's block, like throughout the whole time that we've known Andre. Like he always talks about his writer's block,
which is bullshit.
You think so? You think you think he uses it as like a
Andre 3000 is the asshole. I'm gonna tell you why he's an asshole, because he'll go in the studio with anybody, and obviously there's definitely been times where he's had writer's block, because that's what happened with the song for Poppin' Tags with Jay-Z, when Jay-Z had Killer Mike and Big Boy on the song. Was that Pop? No, that wasn't Poppin' Tags. That was
he was supposed to be on Poppin' Tags.
That was that Fuck All Night? No, not Fuck All Night. What song was it? With Killer Mike and Jay-Z?
Was it Blueprint 2?
It's
definitely a song off of Blueprint 2.
It's Blueprint 2, so it's not Poppin' Tags?
Nah, it's not Poppin' Tags.
You
Poppin'
sure?
Tags is Twisted.
No, I'm sorry.
No, Poppin' Tags is definitely Jay-Z, Blueprint 2.
It's Poppin' Tags, but it's a song with Killer Mike and Big Boy.
Oh,
Poppin' Tags, yeah.
So I was right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Poppin' Tags, Big Boy, Killer Mike, and Twisted.
Right.
Okay.
So I was so I was right. So they're on the song, and Jay-Z already made the song, and Andre is mentioned he mentions all of them, and Big Boy and Andre was just like, yo, I'm sorry, I'm honored that you want you think this much of me. I ain't got shit for you, and that was. I guarantee you that humbled Jay-Z, because he's because he didn't say it to Jay yo, you intimidate me, I can't come. He was just I don't feel I can't, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Think about that. He's Jay-Z at this time. This is Black. This is before the Black album. He's on the cusp of peak Hove. Andre's yeah, I can't. I don't got nothing for you, bro. But that's what I'm saying. He's an asshole. Because he's so talented, he knows. He's he's that real pretty girl that she'll give you a hand job, but she won't give you none.
Wow.
That's who Andre 3000 is. Andre 3000 is that super pretty girl.
That's the beginning of the trailer.
Yo, He is.
That is the
I just
wildest
think-
shit I ever heard about.
I think he does experience the writer's block, and he's vocal about it, so that people don't expect too much from him, so that when he does deliver, it looks like he's overachieving. I think that's what happens. But even when you get into this album, and like we already talked about Hey Ya, but a song like Hey Ya, he was really he didn't even know the direction that he wanted to take the song. I think he said Killer Mike wanted to rap on it. You bring up Killer Mike.
Mm-hmm.
He said Killer Mike wanted to rap on it, and he was like, "Yo, I could really see Killer Mike like body in this."
Right.
But it would have switched up the whole
Feel of
the song, and he was like, "I didn't know how I wanted to pitch it to radio." He said when he pitched it to radio, he didn't even give them a name behind it. He just, because he said if he gave it to them as Outkast, that it would automatically change up how they would receive the song.
Right, it would have got sent to all the hip hop stations.
Exactly.
What Andre 3000 did was brilliant, and obviously we're gonna stay on this for a long time, so bear with us, listeners and watchers. But he cracked the system, because we all know that the Grammys just doesn't respect hip hop since its beginning, right? Mm-hmm. He pretty much figured out like, yo, there's no way they're not going to be able to enjoy this infectious ass beat. He used every instrument under the sun, mm-hmm. and white people can't help themselves, mm-hmm. right? So he did that, and then he kind of like made it like a 1960s kind of like upbeat record, and the hook is so repetitive and so easy to like dance and sing to.
It's like you're in a trance when you listen to that song.
Like as much as you could be like, oh, it's annoying. The next thing you know, like you find yourself enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And I think that he figured that out, and that's why I go back to, if Andre 3000 was actively working in an industry right now, he would be the fucking man. Like he would have everything at his feet. Like the industry will be, oh my God. Yeah. Because you gotta think about it, there's no genre that he can write a country music song. He can be writing songs for other artists. Think about that. That Andre and Big Boy could be writing hits for other artists. You don't think L.A. Reid was hoping that like, yo, Andre, so like you don't want to like ghostwrite for like this new artist that I got, this new singer that I have? Like he can just write hits. Like Andre, like they were really good at this shit. And these are like hood ass Atlanta niggas. Yeah. Like these are hood Atlanta niggas. And they could come and write some of the most poppity pop shit and still like keep their street cred and still like, you know, like have nobody question what they doing, because they just that talented. It's not that they selling out. It's not that they trying to sell records. They just that talented and understand shit that much. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a huge Outkast fan. Like I love Wu-Tang, but I love Outkast. I just make you understand that. Sorry.
And I think there's just a lot of different special moments in this album. And the reason, going back to the top of me saying why I'll be satisfied, is the fact that we got a chance to see what he could do with the full-length album, and that it wouldn't be a typical hip-hop album. Mm-hmm. And that he would work with so many different types of people. I mean, he had Nora Jones on here, he had Khalees on here, he had Rosario Dawson with a spoken word. But like outside of just that, you know, the genres that this album was able to include. I mean, you had hip hop, like progressive, you had funk, you had alternative, you had jazz, you had funk. And you can kind of see this album and how it inspired careers. Like you see what and I brought it up earlier, but Childish Gambino, what he did with an album like Awaken My Love, or like the later half of his career, even just the whole later half of his career, there's like literally pockets for whatever he's done can be found in this album.
Absolutely. And then you mentioned off camera, you mentioned Mac Miller's the Divine Feminine.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
And that was just in ties of both albums being albums that appreciate women and speak highly of women and are all about just women appreciation. And that's what this is. And it's not necessarily in sound, but in concept.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and you got to think about that. That was big because Atlanta, like Andre 3000's from Atlanta, Georgia. Like that's the home of the strip club, and he had like he had early knowledge. Like he was blessed to be around a lot of women that were able to give him a lot of knowledge and insight on how important women were. And think about, like, you know, on that skit where he's talking, he's like, God, oh, you're a girl.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I thought that was dope as fuck. Like the fact that he, you know, he threw that in there, and I don't think a lot of people like caught like what he was trying to do. Like he was basically just letting it be known, like, yo, I think women are the greatest. And yeah, I just thought that was brilliant. But there's one thing that I just want to touch on. I'm not gonna keep it long, right? So the riff between Andre and Big Boy, right, was more. I'm gonna tell you how glaring it was to like other people in the industry, like, because like people really like loved and respected them, so a lot of people stayed out of their shit. So while they were doing these projects, right, also the International Players Anthem was being recorded. So originally it's produced by Juicy J, right, and it's UGK and 3-6 Mafia. So it's UGK, 3-6 Mafia on it originally. So when they originally put it out, it was just them, and it was like because you remember back in the day they used to like give out sampler albums, for the album drop. So it was during like Grammy weekend, and Big Boy and Andre separately heard it, and they reached out to they reached out to Bun and was like, so Andre reached out and was like, yo, Bun, I love it. Do you mind if I like rapped over the sample? Big Boy reaches out to Bun and says, I love it. Yo, do you mind if I add some drums? I want to rap over drums to it.
It was originally Project Pat's song.
So, with that being said, Bun is like, do these niggas know? Like, are they planning this? So he's like, all right, cool. So then he does that, and then the label is like, yo, you got Outkast on the album. And Andre's thing was, yo, like, you know, like, y'all can release it, but I'm not doing a video. Then what also happens is, right, because at first they're like, yo, like, we got 3-6 Mafia, UGK, and Outkast on this one record. It's just gonna be huge. But then what happens is that 3-6 Mafia wins the Oscar. The price just went up.
Yes, it did.
And they were like, they wanted to renegotiate their contract. So then what happens is their label's like, oh, word, y'all want to start wilding? They're like, all right, so they put a halt on everything, but, you know, Bun Beat. So it put a halt on their vocals, but it then put a halt on their production. So it was cool. They was like, you know, Juicy, and it was like, yo, cool, like, you know, we still gonna get something in the back end, right? So then Bun B says, all right, I know how we're gonna get Andre to do the video. We're gonna get the director that Outkast always works with. And he was like, yo, Andre, you can do whatever you want for this video, like whatever you want to do.
Robinson.
No, it wasn't Craig Robinson for this one. I forgot his name. He said the name, but I can't. It wasn't Craig. You can find it if you want. And so Andre came up with the treatment for the video for it, and like Bun B and Pimp just showed up. And it was one of the, like, you know, obviously it was one of the best videos that we ever like saw ever. And it's funny because pretty much like what the pattern that I'm noticing. Brian Barber, right? The pattern that I'm noticing is that pretty much everyone always has to bend to Andre 3000's will.
Yes.
So pretty much Andre 3000 is Paul McCartney. If you're a fan of the Beatles, everyone you know knows that like Paul McCartney was always blamed for the one always having like crazy demands and always wanting something to be changed or not being okay with something or questioning things or like needing certain kind of, like, a lot of people say, oh, the Beatles broke up because of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, but like people don't understand that Paul McCartney was the one that was like kind of like saying like, I'm not feeling this or I'm not feeling that. So then eventually John Lennon was like, all right, fuck this, I'm out.
You think if Big Boy one day was to come on and be like, yo, fuck Andre 3000, you think he's entitled to that?
Yes.
I think so too.
You gotta think about it. They were at the height of their careers. They had just won. They didn't even go on their own world tour.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get, like they sold a bunch of records, right? But think about if they would have been able to go on the Speaker Box Love Below world tour, and they could have did their solo records or whatever like that, and then they closed the show out performing together.
Yeah.
Like think about how much money. Like obviously they made a ridiculous amount of money, but think about how much money they left on the table because of that. Think about how many new fans they probably could have gotten off of doing that.
Yeah.
Right? If they would have did that tour.
I wonder what they got for that Coachella set.
They had, bro. I think it was they. So in the book, like apparently they had the L.A. Reid was the one who everyone put up to asking him.
Okay.
To do it
for Coachella?
Yeah, for Coachella, and like L.A. Reid had to like talk to him, and like he gave like a really good pep talk and stuff like that. But like they said that like at Coachella the first week that Andre felt like he didn't do that good, and like he kind of like wasn't himself, and then the second week Coachella was because the thing that sucks is the first week of Coachella is always the one that like is streamed. The second week isn't.
Yeah.
So like Andre was really hard on himself, and then him and L.A. Reid had another conversation, and he went out and killed the second show. But yeah, and then all right, before we start talking about tracks, I also want to say like, so you remember the Organized Noise documentary, right? How like they touched on like kind of like feeling left out, that like Big Boy and Andre didn't like shout them out or thank them when they were giving like their speeches during the Grammys and acknowledge them, even though like they pretty much built the grassroots of like what they did and everything, and then didn't work with them on their last project as a group. And I think unfortunately that they knew that it's weird because Organized Noise, they make hits, so it's not like they couldn't give them what they wanted. But I think that they were students for so long, and they understood the music industry to a point that they knew what their fan base wanted, and then they knew what they wanted to do. And I just think they kind of like outgrew like being under Rico Wade's thumb, and they just kind of just did that. They were big enough to like not have to answer and like give like a direct answer, like, well, I did it because of this, or like All right, so the other day, me and this girl was getting into the mood, and she told me, I need to trim the yard.
Oh, damn.
And I don't, do you have any recommendations?
You know what? Funny you say that, because I got in a similar situation. I had to do some digging. I found some shit, bro. I got to put you on.
Please do.
It's called Manscaped, and Manscaped gave us a code that I want you to use. You can get 20% off, bro.
Get out of
here. Y'all too. Wrap in order 20. You use that. You go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off your order.
Wow, she is going to be so happy.
And, she won't have no hair on her teeth.
And your balls will thank you.
So there's a lot of standouts on this album, right? The intro is super soothing, right? Goes into Love Hater. How you feel about Love Hater?
Actually, I wish that this album had more traction. The fact that I think that there's at least 6 songs that could have been radio singles.
I think so too.
For this album, and I think that's more so the disappointment. Love Hater, I think definitely should have been like a single. And it's disappointing. Like I just like how that's he starts it out with that, and if you listen to this project, he's telling the story. So with Love Hater, I really like how that opens the project.
Yeah.
Well, it's the second track, but you know what I'm saying. Besides the intro, it's the first musical track. It sets the tone for the album.
Yeah.
And lets you know what's going on. And I'll never forget the first time I listened to this project. I didn't know what the fuck I was listening to, because I was like, yo, when's this nigga gonna rap?
Yeah.
I was very confused. I thought it was like a joke. I didn't get it.
Yeah. Love Hater's amazing in that sense. Really, really, I see it as the appropriate kickoff for this album, and especially when it leads into this interlude that I love so much. It's an interlude where he kind of comes to this realization of not being this, or not realization, but acceptance of not being this perfect man, but knowing his needs, knowing his desires, praying for a woman, But and then realizing all in the sense too that God is a woman, and he's just like, oh, thank you, God, like thank you, man, or thank you, lady. Like it really resonates differently in 2021 when you listen to this.
It does. I remember at this time, like did you ever seen Dogma?
Yes, long time ago.
So Dogma is like one of my favorite movies of all time. So nobody couldn't tell me that he didn't use the God is a woman like from that movie and Alanis Morissette being God, and I was just like, yo, like I wondered is that how he got it? But then later on like he just from his own journey and own growth and stuff like that. But I just thought that was always dope that he basically said it because it's just like we got Mother Earth, things like that. So why can't God be a woman? Why would God have to be a man? And I think that that's what makes him so appealing and makes him so beloved by a lot of like fans and a lot of women, is that he was able to break down like stereotypes and like walls of this whole masculinity thing. Like and like Andre 3000 is still like like with the way his fashion sense was a very fluid person, a very like abstract, kind of like in a sense of like a David Bowie or like a lot of like the 1970s and early 80s like rock stars like that, where like they would wear like makeup and tight shit that was like super tight. Like obviously artists still wear tight stuff, but like they were
tight as fuck, but they were like the baddest women.
Yeah, like Rick James, like what I'm saying, like coming out like wearing shit like spandex and all that shit, and like Andre, like he embodied that, and like he basically, like he said, like a lot of his outfits, he said that he was just trying to look like how the music sounded to him.
Yes.
So I thought that was dope.
Yeah. But yeah, nevertheless that's a solid interlude, and it takes us into Happy Valentine's Day, which has become over the years, I mean, it's all in the name, right? February 14th hits, like, you hear this song from somewhere. Or somebody quoting it. Every day's the 14th, whatever. Like, somebody always quotes this song. It's a classic song on this album. And it does its job. I love the placement of it, too. What you think about it?
I mean, basically, it's him. It's like the setup. So it's like he says his prayer and then he goes out on the prowl and he's like trying to meet women, and he's being his charming self and he's out courting girls. So he's just like, yo, like I'm romantic every day in a sense, and I think it's like the setup, because it's like he's going through like this whole thing, like, all right, now I'm going out courting women and I'm being my best self, and then we go to the next song.
Yeah. The next song is Spread.
Right. So we get into Spread, and it's about having a one night stand. Well, it leads into a one night stand. So that's what ends up happening. Like he meets a girl. And they they hit it off, and it's just one of those nights. And he says on the hook, I just want to take you home, and he does, and he spreads it.
And that spread for me. But that's like the great thing about how this is going so far, right? Because on God, he's admitting to, being this imperfect man, but also knowing what he needs. And then at the end of it being like, oh, you have that perfect woman for me? But he's just like, all right, yeah, well, I'll wait. But then he doesn't wait. And he just goes out on the prowl and he's wilding, and it shows the imperfect, perfect man.
Yeah, his imperfection, impulse.
The imperfection and the impulse, and and being on the prowl and seeing how fun that can be. And Wear My Panties is a great interlude too.
It's the top 3 rap skits of all time.
It's amazing. Wait, what are your other 2?
The Mad Rapper, and the other skit is the Lox Raping You Records, for me personally.
That's a good one.
We'll be raping you. It's
out of context, if you don't know It sounds crazy.
Oh, it's about no.
They're
It's
talking about their deal.
Yeah, their music deals. No, not about it's about record deals because they were beefing with Puff, and Puff was taking money from them. It has nothing to even do with a woman at all.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't even think because oh man, I gotta get in 2021 brain.
Yes.
Woo.
But Nasty Girl is up there for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
shit makes me
you're
laugh
right.
every time.
Yeah, because it's funny.
It's
funny as hell. Cause Biggie's nasty.
Yeah, that's so fucking nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, Where Are My Panties is an amazing interlude. The night after, wakes up with this girl. She's still there. You have your thoughts. She having hers. And I like that we got to hear her perspective too. This, the other voice that we hear is Tony Hunter. Such a sexy voice. But that takes us into Prototype. Prototype is one of the greatest songs ever.
I agree. I think it's frustrating to me that I could be wrong, but I don't think Prototype is on the Rolling Stone 500 greatest songs of all time.
I don't think it is. And
it's 500 songs. Like, you mean to tell me that one of your writers or one of those people couldn't just do that? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, it's such a damn, that's such a bar. Like, if you're not the one, you're the prototype. Like, you're what the one was structured out of. Like, that, you're what the one was modeled after.
I think that's brilliant, and I think that that is really something. That's something that I think about a lot. Because when I was younger, I just didn't think that oh shit, I'm gonna meet this perfect woman for me or whatever like that. But now, I think about it and I'm like, nah, I get what he was talking about. Just hit the red button. Good. Rob, please keep your voice down. You're trying to whisper, but I can hear your whispers.
I'm so high, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's one bar on the battery.
One bar of the battery on that one? Alright, it's cool. So if that one goes out, it goes out. It's fine. Yeah. We gotta just go through it. But yeah, I think Prototype is one of the most perfect songs ever written in history.
Yeah. It's a perfect song. Like the video, everything. Video threw me off when I first saw it, but it's amazing. It's such a this song is a time capsule, but at the same time, it's timeless. At the same time, She Lives in My Lap is the next one. Features some spoken word from Rosario Dawson. I still play this song to this day. This is one of those songs that I go back to very often.
She Lives in My Lap is all right. So. Back to back, Prototype into She Lives in My Lap is one of what? Mm-hmm. For an album?
For an album.
He was blacking. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, if Big Boy came out and said, I fucking hate this motherfucker. Yeah. I hate him with a passion. What? Nigga, you had this in the tuck?
He's completely entitled to say, fuck this nigga. He can say that.
This is one of the greatest songs ever. And just think about it. If he think about it if he was unselfish and gave this song to another artist that has a traditional singing voice or a trained singing voice. Oh my goodness. Oh man, this song goes everywhere. How was this song not a radio record? What? Arista?
The production, is fucking flawless.
What the fuck is up with, I get they sold 11 million records, so who the fuck am I to say what they should have done? But I think they probably they might be at 20 right now.
15, 20.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, it's a perfect record. I don't think an artist that could really, really sing would have been able to do this though.
I get what you're saying. Nah, you're right. Yeah.
Too polished, too good.
That's true too.
It's like certain Kanye songs. I was listening to 808s and Heartbreak today, or earlier today, because one of my favorite songs from Kanye is "See You in My Nightmares." And when I listened to that, no singer would have been able to do that. He sounds, it just sounds so good. The production with his voice and the imperfection of his voice. It just works so well. And it's the same with this one. Hey Ya, what haven't we said about Hey Ya? We kind of already got into
Yeah,
that.
we try to get that shit out of our head and we just can't.
Yeah, you can't. It's just everywhere. That shit is a Halloween costume every year. It's in pop culture. I can't say enough about that one.
Right.
We can go right into. You had anything to say about Good Day, Good Sir? The interlude with.
You want to skip Roses?
Oh damn, my bad. Roses. Roses is
All right.
next.
So Roses Roses was the first song off this album that I learned word for word.
It's a very easy song to learn.
Damn, Reg. All right.
No, I mean, it's such a sing-along.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now, I guess for me, like I learned it that was the first song like of all of them where I was like I had to learn all the words of this shit because it was such like a sing. You're right. It's such a sing along song, but I was just like, damn, like
it makes you sing along.
Yeah, like I was like, all I'm saying is just that as a songwriter, I don't think that we acknowledge it, and I think it's because we only got this project. But Andre 3000 as a songwriter is extremely slept on.
Yeah,
he's not acknowledged enough, and I think that's something that is because he's so shy and such a recluse. But like I said again, is like Bruce Wayne not suiting up as Batman. He's just like, I'm a billionaire. Why do I need to save Gotham?
Yeah, just next door, just watching shit.
Yeah, he just watching shit happen while he laid up with Selena Kyle. Yeah.
Man. Hey, that's a good life.
I guess. I guess.
Okay, so but the video too. The video was amazing.
It was.
You had Cat Williams in there, Farnsworth, of course.
Big Boy's in it too.
Of course, yeah. Big Boy's on the song. There's damn, I can't remember all the cameos. I know it was another Brian Barber video though.
Yeah, that's their partner. Like they fuck with him and he gets the visuals.
The video was amazing. But Good Day, Good Sir is the interlude with Farnsworth that followed it. Pretty funny, pretty clever. Yeah. It's a great lead into Behold a Lady. Because their little banter is interrupted by a woman walking by, and it kind of just leads into this.
A lady.
What you think of this one?
I thought that this was another dope. It just The Love Below is perfect, y'all, and there's no flaws in it, and that's what pisses me off. Is that like I can't even justify why this man don't make music. I need Andre 3000 to give me a better reason. I need a better reason. Yo, you don't think, he don't owe Jay Prince a favor or nothing like that? Why Jay Prince can't press this nigga into making a fucking album? He could press somebody else, everybody else to do everything else,
Jay
right?
Prince can press anybody.
Right? Like, god damn, man. God damn you, Andre 3000.
And it's not like Andre is hard to find. He be everywhere.
That's how I know he don't owe nobody shit. Like, that nigga walks around happily and freely, bro.
He do his own thing. He walk around with his fucking flute. Just smiling.
Man, what the fuck, bro?
It's crazy. Yeah, I feel like everyone in New York City has ran into Andre 3000.
I haven't. I wish I did, though.
I have not ran into Andre 3000.
I don't go outside either, but yeah.
I wouldn't even know what the fuck to say to him. But
I know what I would say to him.
What would you say to him?
You motherfucker.
You motherfucker. You think you can pull this?
Yeah, you think you could pull this on me? On us?
On me? In Pelican Bay.
Yeah. I would be livid.
But yeah, so Behold a Lady is great. And Pink and Blue starts off with the Age Ain't Nothing But a Number sample. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really clean sample. What you think about this one?
I like that actually. It kind of told me that he wasn't still he was still in tune with what was going on for himself as far as hip hop. So he wasn't trying to step away from hip hop or the black genre period, right? Mm-hmm. What he was just doing was I think he was just making music that just was relevant to him. Mm-hmm. In that way, but still making it, something very, very cool. And that's what drew me in. So him using that sample, what he did on that song particularly was the way he sets these fucking songs up is fucking brilliant. Cause it's like he kind of like also like really like made it really easy and simple to follow this project, and that's also speaks to like, you know, his intelligence. So like, you know, it was just it made me very happy.
You're right. Yeah, it's a very simple and easy concept to grasp.
Right.
I think that's let's see here. What other songs I wanted to highlight here? I know
I was about to say, yeah, She's Alive and the Dracula's Wedding is really cool with Khalees, because it's kind of like he created a monster. He like kind of like saying to me in a sense, like as far as a metaphor, and I was just like, oh shit, like what the fuck?
It's a sick concept, man. Really, really sick concept.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself like, oh man, like, you know, he's basically saying like, all right, everything, you know, he basically saying the telltale story of, yo, everything's great at first, you know, everything's amazing, and then she becomes this raging, you know what, and things just don't go well, and yeah, I think I want to fight this nigga.
The more you talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and Khalees is she has one of my favorite voices. It's not that like, and that's not to compliment her so much as a singer. She just has like this really
husky. Oh yeah, it's dope.
voice.
I love it.
I love her voice.
Yeah, she has like a husky voice. I like it too.
My Favorite Things follows that song. Let's see, was this a single? No. Or no, it was a sample. Okay. All right, it was sampled.
Yeah, these are a few of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Andre can't do no wrong, bro. Like, I mean, if you like, for me, what else can we say? Like, I think everyone can conclude what the fuck the verdict's going to be.
Oh yeah.
So
They know
what else?
They know what the fuck going on. They know what's happening.
I just, like I said, man, it's just, and it's crazy because there's so many artists that come off. Like, think about it like this, right? Andre 3000 did what he did, and then Future saw that and did the complete opposite, but it still worked.
What do you mean?
Future saw this project, right?
Oh, okay.
And was like, all right, you loving on these bitches. I'm gonna teach them a lesson.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So would you compare this to like Hendrix, or just you talking about his career?
I'm just saying like his career. Like, I just felt like Future was like, all right, I'm gonna take it a different, like, he's like evil Andre 3000. You don't think so? Like, you know, yeah. You know, it's like that that meme of Kermit the Frog, and like evil Kermit the Frog rises up. Yeah. Like like Future's evil Andre 3000. Like, think about it. Future recording music all the fucking time. We can't shut that nigga the fuck up.
Yo.
We can't get him to not give us a project or give us music and shit like that. Andre don't want to do none of this shit. Like, you know, like Andre gets along with his baby mother. Future, none of his baby mothers get along. They just opposites, yo.
Andre only has one kid, right?
Yeah. 7 with Andre Erykah Badu. But I'm just saying, like, him and Erykah get along great. Like, they're friends. Like, they hang out and shit. Future, like, what? Him and Sierra can't be in the same room. And his other baby moms, you know, like, it's always something. But yeah, man. There's a lot of artists that come off of Andre 3000's tree. He has a lot of sons in this music industry. There's a lot of music that we have in today that you know, has a lot of shades of this album. And I also think that this project made crossover in hip hop a lot easier, and made a lot. I think this probably was like a lot of people's introduction to hip hop and like respecting it, because, you know,
2003, big year.
Because you got to think, 98 is the boom, right? Like, that's the biggest year of music, period. The most records sold ever, right? And then, so hip hop is, you know, being respected, like, right? Oh, and in 98, Lauryn Hill wins the Grammy, right?
Wow.
So they get in that. And then Outkast is like right on the brink. They Sorry Miss Jackson, Rosa Parks, Bombs Over Baghdad, Like they have those songs, and it's like they're rap records, but they're crossing over. Then they come out with this project, and it's like, all right, they're in. And then Andre 3000 was like, I'm out of here.
Peace.
Peace.
It's too crowded.
Yeah, it's too crowded. That's it. Like, all right, cool, we did it. Yeah, I know we on tour with Lauryn Hill, but yeah, the tour that Outkast supposed to do, I can't. I won't be able to survive that.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe Andre knew something that we didn't know. He knew that his mental couldn't deal with that kind of attention and stuff.
Yeah, probably.
And
you gotta really be in tune with yourself to know something like that beforehand. And I think he is.
Yeah, man, he was drinking that tea with Erica, and Erica was like, "Boy, you gonna go crazy.
You gonna go crazy. Go sit your ass down."
Yeah, so I get it. It's just, it's like me just being a selfish fan. Like, even though like people say you can't put Andre 3000 in your top 5 because he doesn't have a proper album, I do it. I put him in my top 5 because give me your favorite rapper, and I guarantee you they won't say the Candyman's name.
Nah, they will not say Andre.
Andre 3000 is the real Candyman, ladies and gentlemen.
That boy good.
He's your rapper's favorite rapper.
The next song on this album is actually Vibrate. Vibrate is almost 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's about masturbation.
Yeah, man.
Great song. Great song. One of my favorite things about this song is that the drums for this song is actually the drums from She Lives in My Lap, but backwards.
That's a dope fun fact.
Yeah. Really, really dope. It's a great song. Like, it's one of those that, like, it kind of just plays off in the back, and then when you grasp the concept, you're into it. It's dope, and it's a great way for it to be like toward the end of this album. Like I said, like I'm in love with placements for albums, and this one just like hits the mark.
Yeah, like he bodied this album because it literally takes you on a journey. It has a beginning, it has a climax, and it has an end. And he did this magnificently. And I just wish that Andre 3000 had one bit of a sellout bone in his body to give us more music.
Yeah, I think he does. I think maybe he'll come out with something soon.
Yo, bro, like you know how much recorded material he has. Like he has stuff that he's working on. It's just that like he just is too in his head, and nobody can tell him shit. Andre 3000 is very babied. Nobody like he's Michael, and all these other niggas is Tito.
Yeah, and he knows it.
Yeah, man,
he knows it.
It just sucks, but
hey man, niggas ain't that great without a cause.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes with something. I think so. The album ends with "A Life and a Day of Benjamin Andre," incomplete. And he made this to say, yeah, well, in case y'all niggas think or y'all forgot that I can really bar niggas up, this is it.
Yeah, man.
This is for you, actually.
It is for me.
This is for that satisfaction of having some raps.
Right. And it's like, and I do appreciate it, but then I get mad because I realize this nigga skated on us. Mm-hmm. I felt gypped. Yeah. I felt bamboozled. I felt hoodwinked. I felt led astray.
This is some excellent rapping. And you appreciate it that much more because you didn't get an ounce of this on this album.
Nah.
And then you get to this and it's like, holy shit, all right. Oh. And then before you can like really get into it, and mind you, this song is like 5 minutes, but before you like get into it, like it's over.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, shit. Well, that lets me know that I really need more Andre 3000 content. Like, where is it, bro?
At one point, I just took all of his the features that he had, and I just made a list of 36 of his features.
Oh, that's fire!
And made myself a little playlist, like back in the day when we still burn CDs and shit. I'm that much of a 3000 fan. Like I just think that he's a brilliant artist and a brilliant mind, and I just think that we should protect him at all costs, but we should also force him to go into a studio and not leave until he gives us an album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 5 waffles out of 5. I don't think there was any I don't think that you should have thought anything else. Anything less?
I like when I recommend albums that we agree on, and it's a 5.
Yeah, there's nothing else for me to say. Like, this project is perfect, and it might not be a traditional rap album, but it definitely his fingerprints are definitely on a lot of artists, right? Like even down to like Kendrick, and his song "Loyalty" with Rihanna. It makes me think. Like when I hear "Loyalty," I think about Andre 3000 a lot, and not like as far as like the tone, but I feel like he would have made a song like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I think, man, Andre's an interesting dude, man. And by the way, my rating is also 5. Andre's an interesting guy, man. I think he's one of those artists that's constantly he's never just dormant, like he's never just like at a standstill. I feel like behind the scenes he's always teaching himself some shit. Like he played so many instruments on this album.
Yeah. He played on Hey Ya, he played every instrument except for the bass.
Yes. So I think he is a sponge. Like he's always learning different shit. But like you said, he gets in his head a lot. I listened to a ton of Andre interviews before all of this, and just hearing how he interprets his art is interesting because like his interview I think with Rick Rubin, where he just was talking about all the doubt that he has in himself, and I'm like, bro, you gotta listen to us at this point and just know how dope you are. But I know that it's easier said than done.
It's just like I'm telling you, it's gonna take Big Boy to say, "Yo, fuck this nigga."
Yeah, probably. I mean, but he he's treated Big Boy like shit. He's apologized about it before.
He has
on
Sorry.
T.I.'s album.
Yeah, the song was called Sorry. Yeah.
So he acknowledged it, but man, we need more Andre 3000 content, man.
I'm telling you, man, Jay Prince, get on it.
But for now, yeah, Jay Prince, you know what to do. Just
you know what to do.
Give him the phone, give him the notes, and stand next to him.
Yeah, stand next to him.
He'll take it from there. But yeah, so The Love Below is a 5. I'm First Class Reg.
And I'm Torian B.
And we are out of here.
Thank you.